Welcome to Anna Creek Station, the largest cattle ranch on Earth. Bigger than Slovenia, stretching across 5 million acres of blazing, empty outback. It's so remote, the nearest town has 10 people, and mail comes by plane. This isn't just a ranch, it's a survival story. From failed sheep runs and deadly droughts, to daring cattle drives, and a modern fight to keep it in Australian hands, Anna Creek is a living legend. Subscribe to Digital Papyrus and discover the untold story of Anna Creek Station. From sheep runs to cattle empire, the saga of Anna Creek Station begins in the 1860s, in an era when intrepid pastoralists pushed into Australia's arid interior. The site takes its name from Anna Creek, a watercourse discovered in 1858 by explorer Colonel Peter Warburton, who named it after a pastoralist's daughter, Anna Chambers. In January 1863, a partnership of Julius Jeffreys, John Warren, and William Bakewell established the original Anna Creek Station, initially located at Strangway Springs, an area of natural springs along the overland telegraph route. These early years were defined by trial and error. The founders stocked the station with sheep, and by the mid-1860s, they grazed about 7,300 sheep on the sparse pasture. However, raising sheep in wild dingo country proved disastrous. Relentless dingo attacks decimated flocks, making sheep husbandry unsustainable in this unforgiving land. By 1872, the decision was made to relocate the homestead to its present site farther south, nearer to reliable water sources. Sheep were abandoned in favor of hardier cattle that could better withstand predators and the desert conditions. Under the management of John Hogarth from 1863 to 1893, and later his brother Thomas Hogarth, 1893 to 1913, Anna Creek grew into a productive cattle station. Following the Hogarths, members of the Warren family took the helm. George Warren briefly, then his brother Francis Frank Warren until 1918. These were the decades of boom and bust. The station saw periods of prosperity and devastating drought, all while remaining extremely isolated from colonial urban centers. In 1918, Anna Creek Station changed hands, selling to Malcolm Reed and Leslie Taylor. Not long after, a seismic shift in ownership set the stage for Anna Creek's legendary status. In 1935, the property was acquired by the expanding empire of Sir Sidney Kidman, famously known as the Cattle King. Sidney Kidman had built a vast network of outback stations, and Anna Creek became a crown jewel in his holdings. Under Kidman's S. Kidman & Co., Anna Creek was run in conjunction with neighboring properties, like the Peak Station and Stewart's Creek, forming a giant pastoral block across northern South Australia. Kidman's strategy was innovative. He owned a chain of leases stretching across the continent so cattle could be moved along stock routes to find feed and water in times of drought. Anna Creek's water sources and sheer size made it a crucial link, allowing stock to be walked long distances to railheads or markets, grazing along the way. Through much of the 20th century, the station was managed by generations of the McLean and Nunn families on behalf of Kidman's company, an association that continued for over 100 years. Fast forward to the 21st century. By the 2010s, Anna Creek was still owned by S. Kidman & Company, but big changes were on the horizon. In 2016, the Kidman empire was up for sale, attracting global attention. Anna Creek's immense size and location, partly overlapping a military weapons testing range, even prompted Australian government intervention to ensure national interests were protected. The result was a historic deal. In December 2016, Anna Creek Station, along with its outstation, the Peak, was sold separately to an Australian family outfit, the Williams Cattle Company, for an estimated 16 million Australian dollars. This kept Anna Creek in Australian hands, while the remainder of Kidman & Company was sold to a consortium involving mining magnate Gina Rinehart and Shanghai CRED, a Chinese company, for the Williams family. Acquiring Anna Creek doubled their land under lease overnight. they immediately announced plans to invest in the station's future, pouring resources into new water infrastructure and modern facilities to increase the herd and improve efficiency. Anna Creek Station's environment is as challenging as it is majestic. Sprawled across the outback of northern South Australia, the station encompasses a mix of landscapes, from rolling sand dunes and orange-red soil to flat gibber tablelands covered in pebbles, and even ephemeral salt lakes and swamps that appear after rare heavy rains. One picturesque corner of the property, known as the Painted Hills, reveals colorful banded sandstone formations, a reminder of ancient inland seas that once covered this land. But for most of the year, the scenery is dominated by sparse grasses, hardy acacia shrubs, and endless horizons under a pale blue sky. This terrain lies deep in the outback interior, far from any city. The nearest settlement is the tiny hamlet of William Creek, population just about 10 people when the station crew is around, which is actually encircled by Anna Creek Station's boundaries. William Creek's pub and roadhouse are a welcome sight for workers seeking a cold drink or travelers venturing along the Oodnadatta track. The nearest larger town is Coober Pedy, an opal mining town about 160 kilometers west of the homestead, which serves as the station's main supply and freight hub. Reaching even these nearby outposts means hours of driving on remote dirt roads. Isolation defines life here. Mail is delivered only twice a week by a Bush mail-run service out of Coober Pedy, which also doubles as a freight carrier for essential goods. Until recently, communication with the outside world was limited to radio. Today, satellite internet and phones connect the homestead to civilization, though outages and latency are part of the bargain. The climate at Anna Creek is one of extremes. The station sits on the edge of the Simpson Desert and Lake Eyre Basin, one of the driest regions in Australia. Average rainfall is a scant 140 millimeters, 5.5 inches per year, and it's not unusual for months to pass with virtually no rain. Drought is a constant specter. During the severe 2000s drought, the land was so parched that the station could support only a fraction of its cattle herd. Then, in rare years, monsoonal rains or cyclonic remnants can sweep down from the tropics, transforming the desert. Dormant seeds burst into life, ephemeral lakes fill, and grasslands briefly flourish in a carpet of green. These boom and bust cycles dictate everything on Anna Creek. Heat is another formidable challenge. In summer, daytime highs commonly range from 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, and record temperatures in the region have reached a blistering 50.7 degrees Celsius, one of the hottest ever recorded in Australia. Even at night, the heat can linger, with warm winds blowing over the plains. Such extreme heat means humans and animals alike must adapt or perish. Water evaporates almost as fast as it falls, and surface water is virtually non-existent for most of the year. Because vegetation is so sparse, the station's carrying capacity, the number of livestock the land can sustain, is very low relative to its huge area. Stocking rates here might be on the order of 1 cow per several square kilometers of land. In fact, Anna Creek's 5.8 million acres support around 10,000 to 17,000 cattle in good seasons, whereas a ranch of even 1/7 the size in lusher country can carry a larger herd. One news report quipped that Anna Creek is as tall as the Netherlands and as wide as Wales, yet only a handful of people and cattle wander its expanse. The aridity and poor grazing mean size is survival. Only a massive land area with widely dispersed livestock can make pastoralism viable here. As an Anna Creek mustering pilot explained, due to the low level of grass, a large surface area is required to keep up with grazing needs for thousands of cattle. In other words, the station's giant size is not about excess, but necessity in this desert ecosystem. Finally, the remoteness of Anna Creek adds an emotional and logistical challenge. Station residents are hours away from medical facilities. The Royal Flying Doctor Service is a vital lifeline for emergencies. and simple errands or social visits involve long drives. Newcomers often experience a jarring sense of isolation. We hear from Sarah, a young Canadian who spent a season working on Anna Creek. "I thought I was prepared for the remoteness, but the first few weeks took some adjusting. I was across the world on my own. Things will go wrong sometimes, and there will be bad days," she admits. Over time, however, many come to appreciate the profound solitude and sweeping silence of the Outback nights, where the stars blaze in an ink-black sky. It takes a certain kind of person to call a place like this home's. Resilient, self-reliant, and resourceful, yet also attuned to the rhythms of nature. These qualities shine through in how the station is run day to day. But this story isn't over. We've only scratched the surface. In part 2, we'll take you inside daily life on the station, from sunrise briefings and water runs, to high-tech mustering with helicopters and the deep camaraderie forged in the Outback. You'll discover how a team of just 11 people manage a landmass larger than some countries,